My name is Grace Mize, and I'm doing my speech on nursing. So, I had to grab my note cards again. There was a girl that was born deaf one time. Immediately after she was born, there was a divide in her community between deaf and hearing. When you're born like in a Spanish family or in a family that's French, like you can learn different languages. You can learn English, you can learn Spanish, you can learn French, or whatever country or area that you're in, you can learn different languages, but a lot of people don't learn sign language. So in her case, she was in this community where there's this 100% divide in the world, right? And then she turned 18 and she got in a car crash, and she's allergic to penicillin. And she got into the hospital, and then they gave her the penicillin because they couldn't give her an interpreter, and they didn't know. So we often forget how to communicate with everybody. We'll learn audible languages from Spanish to French, but we don't take the time to learn sign language, and that's hard for a lot of people. So we want to learn the little sign language as doctors and nurses so we can show community and love towards everybody like God shows in the Bible with the Tower of Babel. So going to the doctor can be really hard on someone who's deaf. It can be really nerve-wracking, something that nobody that is deaf really wants to do in their life. Other people don't understand why deaf people don't just get cochlear implants when they're born. And cochlear implants, if you don't know, is something that you can get surgically put into your brain so it can help you hear. You actually hear from the top of your head if you get a cochlear implant, which is kind of like a fun fact. And also with the Tower of Babel, that shows communication, and I'll explain that like a little bit later. And you don't have to be fluent in sign language to make a little bit of a difference. So going back to what I was talking about a minute ago, going to the doctor can be really hard. I got this quote from a lady with the last name of Smith, and she wrote this in 2018, that family members usually cannot interpret adequately because they are emotionally involved with the training. And with doctors, like when you're in a doctor's office, if you say something like cold might mean something else in sign language, and it might be hard for somebody to communicate with their family member, which is why they usually want to get a medical sign language interpreter, which is really hard to get and also really expensive for someone. So when someone gets sick as a deaf person, it gets really hard for them to decide, okay, let me call the doctor, get an interpreter, do all of these things. And sometimes like scheduling can be really hard too, because you're on the phone, like you're not going to be able to hear that other person, so you have to go into the doctor, you have to drive all the way to the doctor first, find an interpreter to help you with that. There's so many different things that they have to go through that we don't even have to think about on our everyday lives. So for a nurse or someone to learn sign language could help just a little bit with that. So moving on to the next thing, sometimes we don't understand why people don't get cochlear implants. So when people are born, immediately, I heard this story, I don't remember where, but there was this story of this girl that was born, and this mom was sitting there, and they were like, all right, so we have to fix this. We have to fix this immediately. We have to fix this deaf person immediately. Let's decide if they're getting a cochlear implant and when they're getting it done. Basically decided this decision for them that they didn't need. And that mom and that dad were deaf, so it was, I think, a 99% chance that their kid would be deaf as well. And so when they were born, like immediately the doctor's like, we have to fix this, but this isn't something that you have to fix. And that's actually really offensive in the deaf community. So people in the deaf community, when you say you need to be fixed, like that's really rude to them. It's kind of like saying, like, I don't want to meet you halfway and learn my name in sign language, or learn how to say how are you in sign language. And it would mean a lot for someone who's deaf, or for someone in the doctor community, just to go up to them and say, hi, my name is Dr. blank. Yeah. So, and now let's go on to the Tower of Babel. There's a book in the Bible named Genesis, and there's a story called the Tower of Babel. Basically, all these people were working on this tower, and they all spoke the same language because God hadn't divided the languages yet in the Bible. So they all were fighting and disagreeing with everything, and then God was like, you know what? Let's stop this. And he shot them all across the world, and they all were in different languages, and they had to learn how to communicate with each other. And God wants us to be able to communicate with each other and have that community with each other, and have everybody loving on each other. And the last thing is, you don't have to be fluent to make a difference. So I'm going to take Lindsay up here. This is my friend, and I'm going to teach her how to say her name. So how do you spell your name?
It's Lindsay, Lindsay.
All right. So this is your L. You want it like this.
Okay.
And then you have an I. Yeah. N. D. Yeah. S. A. Y. So it's hard with the A and the S because they're very, very similar. It's, you learn over time. So you're going to try again. So it's L. I. N. D. S. A. Y. So then I'm going to teach you how to say hi, my name. So you say hi, my name is L. I. N. D. S. A. Y. Can you do it for the camera? Do you think you know it well enough?
I think so.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So that's her saying, hi, my name is Lindsay in sign language, which, thank you for that point. So for you to go up to somebody that is deaf and just know your name or know how to say, hey, how are you? It can brighten their day a little bit because it's like, oh, somebody's like taking their time to like learn their name or learn how to say this in sign language. So to wrap everything up, some people, like, yes, it's hard for us to go to the doctor. Like, just in a general community, going to the doctor is hard. And, you know, sometimes people don't really understand why they don't get cochlear implants, but it's not something that somebody needs to fix at all. It's just something that we can help meet them halfway. So go learn your name, go learn how to say, how are you? So hi, my name is Grace Mize, and I'm going to teach you about nursing and signing in sign language. Thank you.
Cool.